So recently I've given tomato plants to a number of people, and the question comes up as to how to take care of these tomato plants. So I'm going to give you some basic things. There's a lot of things you can do, but I'm going to talk about a few things that are really important as far as I'm concerned. Of course, the first thing is to have some kind of fertilizer, and one of the things that I'm using is this Miracle Grow flower food. They also have bloom food and rose food and things. The main thing is that this type of plant food has a high level of phosphate and also some potash, which is good for getting things to flower. This food is pretty good, contains about 9 different things, but plants need at least 15 things to do well, and actually maybe a lot more, and certainly people need a lot more minerals to do well. So the next basic thing I would add to this particular process is to use something like liquid seaweed, which has dozens of different trace minerals in it from the seaweed that they use to make this, and this will help your plants in terms of getting the maximum health and nutrition and taste for you. Now the third thing, which is often missed and is very important, is the business of the pH of the growing environment. pH runs in a range from, 0 to 16 or something like that, and 7 is considered to be the neutral. Well, things like tomatoes really prefer a pH of about 6 to 6.5, and the problem is that water from your tap often has a higher pH than this. For example, the water in San Francisco is basically really good quality because it comes from rainfall and snow in the mountains, but after the city processes it to reduce corrosion in their pipes, it has a pH of about 9. After you put in some of the plant food, you will find the pH does go down some, but it is still often the case that you need to adjust it from there. And a very simple thing that you can use for this is distilled vinegar that you can buy at the grocery store. Now the question is, how much vinegar do you put into your mix? Well, you get the answer by using a pH pen such as this, which costs about $12 on Amazon, and this will give you a very precise reading of what your pH is. And what you can do once you have mixed your nutrients into your water, then you can use this pH pen to find out how much vinegar you need to add, and maybe you add a teaspoon at a time, something like this. You'll eventually get a feel for teaspoon, tablespoon, things like that, but start with a teaspoon. And if you get too much, you can just add some more water, and that's one reason why I use like a 5-gallon bucket, so I have room to adjust if I put in too much. So I will put links to these different things at Amazon in the comments to this video. Some of those things you can get locally. For instance, hydroponic shops will stock these things. They will also stock pH pens, but some of the brands they stock are quite expensive, and for $12, this one's doing just fine for me.